Welcome back to Cover Together with your hosts Mara and Bugs. As per usual, the docket is full. We've got some NFL talk, some college football talk, and we're just excited. You know, I can smell the cinnamon rolls being baked throughout the house on a nice breezy Sunday morning.
Wow.
As we're watching NFL Sunday.
Wow.
I can also see the sun coming in through the blinds on a beautiful Saturday.
Oh, no.
As we start at 11 a.m. and watch all the college football games. I can't wait.
Okay.
Clearly you don't share my excitement, but it's okay. I'm excited for the both of us. So,
Why are you eating cinnamon rolls to watch football?
I'm going to be baking them. That's my new passion, everyone. Baking different variations of cinnamon rolls.
Them cinnamon rolls.
I'm on hiatus until fall. But best believe when we get there.
Put your orders in.
No.
We're trying to make this a monopoly.
No, don't put your orders in.
Rich
I do
Paul.
it for the love of the game.
Rich Paul, if you need a new client, get into the cinnamon roll business and we got you.
Oh my gosh. Anyways.
Sorry.
So first and foremost, I think we should attack the hot seats in the NFL.
Okie dokie.
Top 5 hot seats, coaches across the league that we think are in trouble if they don't perform this year. So give me the list and we'll talk through them and see what we think.
Okay. So we're going originally off of a CBS Sports article, their ranking of the top 5 hot seats in the NFL for head coaches. To give a little bit of background for them, they had Dan Quinn at number 5, Zach Taylor at number 4, Shane Steichen at number 3, Todd Bowles at number 2, and Aaron Glenn at number 1. Respectively, we had a different opinion. I had a different opinion for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I kind of had a similar list, but for me, I had Shane Steichen at 5 for the Indianapolis Colts. At 4, I had Todd Bowles for Tampa Bay. At 3, I had Dan Quinn for Washington. At 2, I had Zach Taylor for the Cincinnati Bengals. And at 1, Aaron Glenn, you can't escape it, for the New York Jets. So, how do you feel about this list?
I agree with it. Off the top of my head, those are the names I would have come up with. And I don't disagree with your numbering of them. Aaron Glenn, wow, Jesus. Yeah, there was no reason he could escape number 1. So yeah, I'm comfortable with that list. Comfortable with where they all fall. And there's a number of different reasons that they all belong on this list.
Yeah, and I mean, there was a lot of shakeup in the league this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've had a lot of new hires. I believe it was 10 in total.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that that's the most ever, but it's a pretty high number for recent years.
Yeah.
We have at least 6 brand new first-time head coaches. And it looks like, going into next season, I'm pretty sure if not all 5, a good portion of this top 5 and really the top 10 names that I've kind of put together are probably going to be out of a job. I mean, you've got your Dan Campbells, you've got your Matt LaFleur's, you got your Nick Sirianni's. These are guys that are expected to perform in the playoffs that will probably eventually be without a job. And some of them may swap around. You see that a lot where it's like, this coach didn't do well here, but they do well elsewhere. We saw that with John Harbaugh. But I do believe that there's going to be a lot of openings next year. We're going to see some more first-time head coaches also.
So let's work down the list. We'll actually go bottom to top. So why do you have Shane Steichen at 5? Why is he on the list to begin with?
Shane Steichen is kind of an interesting case study. So really, initially, he wasn't a bad head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Time management hasn't been a huge issue. Really, what got him in trouble was the drafting of AR, which isn't necessarily his fault. Chris Ballard is also the GM, and he's been there for a long time, and he's stubborn. But his mismanagement of his quarterbacks has been really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, AR, from what we could tell, he's got the talent, but he's not committed to the game.
Mm-hmm.
He gets hurt, and Shane's trying to make him play.
Yeah.
We went through the whole thing with their running back way back in the day when he was waiting to get paid. Obviously, again, that's a standoff between him and Chris Ballard. But Jonathan Taylor, he didn't want to come back and play for Shane either, And so then you fast forward to this year, and you've got Daniel Jones, who's playing really well.
Mm-hmm.
He gets hurt severely.
Yep.
And then they try to put him back in the game, or put him back in the lineup, and he gets further hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's out even longer.
Yep.
So these are all, to me, fireable offenses. You can't risk player health for a 9-8 season.
Well, also, like you mentioned, we saw Daniel battle a severe injury, and they still paid him.
Yeah, that's another thing, too. You paid him $100 million over 2 years. And then you brought in Phillip Rivers, who, he didn't play great, but you couldn't win one game with Phil. I mean, they were in every game.
It's Phillip Rivers. He's 78 in football years.
But you signed him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, to me, that's the problem. And they had a defense that was really good.
Yeah.
And then I think it shows when a lot of your stalwarts walk on defense.
And they also traded a crap ton of picks, if I'm remembering correctly, for Sauce Gardner.
Bad trade.
Yeah, so they've just been making a lot of suspect moves, and they just have this team of...
It's hodgepodge.
Yeah, it's so hodgepodge. You don't see them performing well, but I also don't think they'll be at the complete bottom of the league, so it'll be another 9-8,
I think it shows a lot when you lose a guy like Kenny Moore, who just asked to be cut, just straight up. I mean, and to this day, I don't think he has a home yet. But he's like, I'd rather be anywhere but here right now.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's why I've got them at 5. I've got him at 5. And usually with those situations, before they get rid of the GM, they start getting rid of the head coach.
For sure. Yeah.
But Chris Ballard, your day is coming. I mean, you've gotten through a lot of head coach. You put it off on Frank Reich, too. You've gotten through a lot of this, and this is on you.
Yeah.
At 4, I had Todd Bowles. Did you have any disagreements with that?
No disagreement.
I like Todd, but Todd's a little long in the tooth being a head coach. And he didn't have a successful stint with the Jets, so I don't know why they went with him over Byron Leftwich when Bruce Arians walked away. Because Byron Leftwich, to me, represented the future. And they decided to go with a comfortable past hire in Todd Bowles, who Byron, for those of you that don't know, was the OC the year that the Bucks went to the Super Bowl. He was Tom Brady's OC, and he's been in the league for a long time. I remember when he was a quarterback when I was growing up. And then Todd Bowles, of course, was the defensive coordinator for Bruce Arians. And they were stuck between those two, and they chose Todd. And it was like you were kind of just siding with mediocrity in that moment because they were salary cap strapped. They still are to this day. And Todd is just, I really like Todd as a coach and as a person, but he has a ceiling. And it's 9-8.
Yeah,
I mean, and years before that, before we got that extra game in the league, it was 8-8 or 7-9, So for me, Todd is definitely at 4. I'm surprised he's not fired, especially with the way he keeps going back and forth with Baker publicly.
Absolutely. They've given him so much longer of a leash than I ever thought they would. I think he gets a lot of passes because they do look at him as a defensive stalwart and think, he can put a lot of things together on the defensive end, which Tampa Bay is never bad on the defensive side of the ball,
Right.
So I think he gets a lot of passes for that, and he's familiar to the organization, but it's about that time, Todd.
Yeah.
There's no reason why they should keep starting seasons so well and then they're fizzling out by the middle/end of the season.
And if memory serves me correct, Dave Canellis, who is the head coach of the Panthers, and Liam Cohen both came from Tampa or originated out of Tampa at some point in their careers. You had your hands on other head coaches throughout this time still.
Yeah.
And you didn't do anything.
Right.
So, yeah, that's why I've got him there at 4. I'd be surprised if he survives this year.
Yeah. Unless they just have some miraculous year that none of us are expecting. But, yeah.
Shake and bake, baby. At 3, Dan Quinn for the Commanders. I think that's kind of self-explanatory. He's another guy that's put his players in harm's way. A lot of risk, not a lot of reward. He's had years to make this team what he wants. They've given him a long leash. And when they gave him money, he went out and signed a bunch of old guys.
He sure did.
I mean, like, what are we doing? We're picking all the guys from when you first got in the league. You know, like Von Miller in 2026. You know, like, this is crazy, you know? And so now this year, he went out and signed a bunch of young guys, and he's taking a chance on Odafe Oweh and a lot of these guys on the defensive line, younger guys, Jacob Martin, and so on and so forth. And then the secondary, he's taking chances, but it's like, it's a little too late.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid that the regression that you've caused Jaden Daniels, that it may stick. That's what I'm afraid of.
I'm hoping that, not necessarily for Dan, but for Jaden, I'm hoping it was just a sophomore slump and we see him have a resurgence. And, you know, unfortunately for Dan Quinn haters, I think if Jaden has a good season and they perform decently, which is what we all are expecting them to do, that he'll keep his job.
Yeah, but it's interesting to be a defensive-minded head coach and your defense sucks. You know, and they were basically working on miracles from Jaden every season. And, like, this whole Brandon Ayuk situation and Terry McLaurin, like, I know we think he's a good receiver, and he is, but he's also getting older.
Yeah.
And that speed isn't going to be there. And it's like, at some point as a head coach, you've got to make some... He's making personnel decisions. So you've got to make some sound decisions.
Right.
You know, when it comes to your personnel. You got to get younger. Change it up a little bit. And they don't have a running back to note either.
No.
So, yeah, it's just kind of a mess for Dan. He's another guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't survive the season if they got off to a rocky start. At 2, we had Zach Taylor for the Bengals. Again, self-explanatory. I don't know why his leash has been this long, but it's been a little too long.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, we kind of talked about that in our last episode when we ranked our quarterbacks, and we both had Joe at 5. Just the lack of team success.
Yeah.
And he just always looks confused. Like, he doesn't know what to do next. He's flying by the seat of his pants because you have generational players like Joe and Jamar, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't look at Zach as doing anything worthy of keeping a job. I think he should have been fired a season or 2 ago.
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys I look at and I see he's hit a wall. And there is no more creativity left in his brain to be running day-to-day operations. And I'm sure it's tough with Cincinnati because... They don't want to pay their players. They don't want to invest in the team necessarily, in the practice facilities and so on and so forth. And you've got a guy like Joe Burrow who keeps getting hurt. But again, Zach, this is on you. You are also making personnel decisions. You can go to them and say, this is who we should draft. You can say we need to focus on the offensive line. Forget the defense. Forget whatever until we get this fixed, and then we'll handle the next thing. But they have yet to do that. And wanting to appease Joe by keeping a guy like T. Higgins instead of investing that money elsewhere, this is the type of stuff that costs you your job.
Unfortunately, I think he was between a rock and a hard place with that because I think if you don't do that, Joe doesn't sign an extension.
Yeah.
And you lose your job as well.
Yeah.
So.
And it is hard, but sometimes you have to show a player.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do have to go to your star players and show them, like, hey, you're better off with me looking out for your best interests than for me giving you what you want.
Yeah.
And then, of course, at number 1, Aaron Glenn for the Jets. This is kind of sad because I was hopeful for Aaron, but I don't know if it's him not having the backing. Now, he's one of these guys that's not really making personnel decisions. I think that he's giving his input, which is why they have the roster they have this year. They have a very old roster. If you haven't been paying attention, they went and got all of your favorite superstars from 2010, and they put them all on this Jets roster. Minka Fitzpatrick, Demario Davis, David Onyemata, Geno Smith. I mean, the list goes on and on. They basically just said, look, here's 2010. We're going to see if this slides up into 2026. And so I think this is him reaching, hoping that something works out. They threw a lot at the wall last year, trying out Justin Fields, and I think they had a lot of bad luck in the draft this year. They were really trying to make a play for a quarterback. They really wanted Dante Moore, and he said, you know what, I'm going to go back to college. So it made a scarce quarterback class more scarce, and you don't want to take a risk. I'm looking at Aaron Glenn and what he did, and I'm seeing that he would rather take a risk with Geno Smith, who's a proven commodity in this league that's had recent success, than to take a flyer on a Garrett Nussmeier or something. And, I mean, they did still end up drafting a quarterback. I believe it was Cade York, if I remember right. But he's not going to see the field, I don't think. And so it just is what it is, Aaron.
I mean, yeah, they pretty much did the opposite of what they did last year. Last year they had a lot of younger players, unproven players, and he basically went out and got everybody old, like you said, hoping for some sort of consistency, I'm sure, is what he's after.
Yeah. He's probably trying to install a culture, but you probably should have did that in the first year, and this isn't a team that's been devoid of money. They've had money for years. I mean, to spend in free agency. They just decided to wait until this year to do it. So I'd be surprised if he survived. He's another guy that I could see gone in 5 games.
Yeah.
All these guys, I mean, I don't think they're going to give him too much longer of a leash. So that's our top 5 list. Again, we kind of just wanted to touch on that. We're getting back into the season. And while we're here talking about getting back into the season, we got college football also right around the corner. What are you excited to see in college this year?
Good games. That's what I'm hoping for. We did not have a lot of good games last year.
Yeah. Sleepers.
Yeah. And I just want us to get back to that. I want us to get back to the powerhouses playing each other. I want us to get back to, that primetime slot every Saturday night actually being a good game. Yeah. That's what I'm looking forward to. I think that kind of leads us right into the question that we stole from Get Up, by the way. They posted a question a couple days ago on the pod, or on the show. I think it was actually Monday, so yesterday. And they said, does the SEC have something to prove this year? So the SEC as an entire conference, if you watch college football, they're kind of deemed as the golden conference, right? They're the stalwarts of college football. They're physical, defense is stout, great receivers come out of the SEC. So we look to the SEC to be competitive and to be on top every year. However, the last 3 years, we've seen teams from the Big Ten win it all. Michigan, your guys, back in 2023, Ohio State the year following that, and then Indiana with Fernando Mendoza last year. So Big Ten's been on a tear, and SEC's kind of been sputtering a little bit. So let's kind of dive into that. From your perspective on the Big Ten side, what does it look like over there? Do you see them competing again? And kind of give us a lay of the land.
So for the Big Ten, obviously Ohio State is who leads our charge. They have been for the last few years. Even when Michigan won back in 22, Ohio State was considered the best team in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, out of our 18 teams, we've got 7 that are ranked in the top 25. Obviously, coming out of this year, you're going to be watching out for teams like Indiana. Oregon is always hanging around. Michigan has a brand new coat of paint, so I'd expect them to be a lot better. Of course, like I said, Ohio State, Penn State, and then you have Iowa there. For the Big Ten, I believe like our reputation in the Big Ten is high-flying, high-paced football.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things that have led to us having recent success, because where you do have those slower slobber knocker type of games in the SEC that's, 14-20
mm-hmm.
or whatever up until the last minute and we're all just running the ball and playing defense. In the Big Ten, you have a lot of high-flying action. Even the defensive games are like high interceptions,
mm-hmm.
high turnover.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why the Big Ten has come on recently. Also, the coaching prestige has changed a lot.
Yeah.
I think that you're witnessing it right now with Alabama, where you take a guy like Kalen DeBoer from Washington and you move him over to Alabama, and it's like, that style doesn't work here.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go up and down the field in the SEC.
Right.
Can't take that risk. And so from a Big Ten perspective side of things, there's a lot of talent out there.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a lot of quarterbacks rated in the top 20
yep.
in the Big Ten. So for me, that's kind of the way I look at it for the Big Ten. I just feel like there's a shift, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the pace.
Yeah.
And it's the style,
Mm-hmm.
What about you looking at the SEC?
Just one quick note on the Big Ten. My only thought, it's so funny to me, your favorite team, Michigan, they are a team that I feel like doesn't play Big Ten football. They're very much run heavy, defense heavy. They almost mirror an SEC team.
Let's see, that came in with the culture of Jim Harbaugh,
mm-hmm.
because that's what Jim did in the NFL.
Right.
And we've tried to continuously mirror that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would expect this year under Kyle Whittingham that we're going to have a different style. I think we'll still be run heavy, but I think he's going to encourage Bryce to throw the ball a lot more.
Yeah. Which, I mean, is what you brought him in to do,
Yeah.
So from the SEC side, I do think they have something to prove. Their games, we haven't seen them win at the highest level. The people you expect to be there, the Georgias, the Alabamas, they've made changes, and they just haven't quite worked out so far. So I want to focus on the top 5 teams in the SEC, kind of the ones we always hear about and who are expected to be the top 5 teams. So, starting with Bama, like you just mentioned, Kalen DeBoer came over. He's been there. This is his 2nd season, or this will be his 3rd. Came over from Washington after having success with Michael Penix. And those first 2 years were a struggle. I mean, you're coming behind Nick Saban, first of all. We know who Nick Saban is. We know what he made Alabama to be. The sort of structure that Kalen brought over, like you just mentioned, completely opposite. He was trying to put in that Washington-style offense, and it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
So this year I'll be interested to see how he's adapting to the SEC. Does he still try to have a high-flying offense? Does he put more of a focus on defense? I'll be interested to see what they look like. They do have a quarterback competition going on, which a lot of people are regarding as the most important quarterback competition heading into this year. You have Austin Mack. He's in his 4th year. He's pretty much battling to keep this job from Keelan Russell. He's a former 5-star, and he's just entering his 2nd year. So he was ranked the 2nd quarterback in the 2025 class, and I think most people anticipate him to take that job from Austin. So it'll be interesting to watch Bama. They still have Ryan Williams. He's added Coleman to his last name, by the way, to celebrate his mom. Shout out to hyphenated names.
There you go.
He carried a lot of the load last year. If you watch them at all, you know Ryan Williams. I expect him to carry a lot of it this year as well. Then you go to Georgia. They have some consistency. They still have Gunnar Stockton. It's his second year as their starting QB. And of course, Kirby Smart is Kirby Smart. He's been there since 2015, I think, entering his 11th season. So Georgia is Georgia. They're going to run the ball. They're going to play stout defense. They're going to have a quarterback that checks down but has the ability to throw it deep occasionally to kind of bust open the offense. But their formula is their formula.
Is Gunnar going to be healthy?
They say he will be. They can only hope.
Yeah.
So, any thoughts on those two teams to start, Alabama and Georgia?
No, I mean, two completely different styles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think the SEC is kind of in this weird shift where, like, they're trying to decide, are we going to shift over or do we keep the Kirby Smarts of the world,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. And another note on Georgia, their receiving corp it's young and it's inexperienced. They'll be relying heavily on Isaiah Canyon. He transferred from Georgia Tech. He's expected to be their number one wide receiver. So, you know, they'll be battling a little bit of inconsistency. But like I said, Kirby has a rinse and repeat structure. So I'm not really expecting Georgia to look much different this year.
So for Kirby, he's in a similar situation as Kurt Signetti, where you emptied the clip last year,
Yeah.
because all your players were pretty much seniors and juniors, and they're saying we're headed to the NFL,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're looking at this year, and it's a way different team. So does that concern you at all with Georgia? I mean, I know it concerns me with Kurt. I don't think Indiana's going back.
Yeah,
for a while.
I don't either know. You know, based on rankings, preseason rankings, people are seeing Texas as 1 and the SEC and Georgia as 2, which we haven't got to Texas, but we will. With the class that Georgia brought in, they are expected to have a top-notch defense again, like we said they always do. However, something that's different for Georgia, they typically always have that guy at running back.
Mm-hmm.
They do always do kind of like a running back by committee approach, at least 2 running backs, but they always have the one.
Mm-hmm.
This year, I don't feel like they have much of that. They really are relying on a 3-back rotation, and unfortunately for them, their third running back, Dante Dowdle, got in an ATV accident this morning, so they're not even sure if he will be able to play this season. Kirby just announced that his injuries were serious, and it's too early to tell if he'll be back. So
Get well soon, Dante.
Yeah, for sure. So that's a big blow to them and their approach at running back. But still, with their defense and the consistency at quarterback with Gunnar, I think that's why they're at number 2 preseason rankings-wise. So then that takes us into Texas. They are an interesting story. They have been for the last several years. Of course, Arch Manning is there. He played his first full season of being the starting quarterback last year. This year will be his second full season. I'm expecting Arch to take a big jump. I'm hoping he does. He has the talent. He has the arm talent. He needs some refining, you know, some shaping. You know that TikTok video where it's like, just needs a little shaping. That's what Arch needs. But Texas is always a fun watch. Their offense is always high-flying. They landed the prize transfer possession this year, Cam Coleman, the receiver from Auburn. He'll be their big play threat. I don't know. I'm excited to watch Texas.
Can Arch get him the ball?
That's a great question.
Because Arch was getting locked up.
Yeah, he was. But I think with this being his second year, your hope would be that he's a lot more comfortable.
Who was it they were playing last year? Was it San Jose State? And I'm sitting there watching Arch just get torn apart by a nearly D2 team.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's just taking a beating. The guy came up bloody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I am hoping that if you don't know me, you don't know that I'm a huge fan of the Mannings, especially Peyton. Peyton's my favorite quarterback.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I see Eli or Peyton in Arch. You know, I see a little bit more Daniel Jones in Arch. So, I mean, for Arch, what do you think his ceiling is as a quarterback this year?
That's a good question. I do think there was way too much pressure put on the young man, just simply for having the Manning name. But he's not either of their children. He's not Peyton's child. He's not Eli's child. He's the other brothers.
He's the receiver's child. He should be a receiver.
Right. So I think there was too much pressure put on him. However, I've seen it. You know, like I've seen flashes of it in him. I've seen him make big plays. I've seen him use his arm. And I feel like a lot of it last year was lack of comfortability with making decisions. Mm-hmm. And he's young, you know? So some of that is on Arch. Some of that is on Steve. You got to make it simple for him.
That's what I was just about to say. I don't think Steve Sarkisian has done him any favors at all. He's got to be a better coach for Arch this year.
Yeah.
And you also have to give him leeway to run with. You had him up against Quinn Ewers, who was a proven starter. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Quinn was a guy that had battled Sam Ehlinger years previous to that for his job.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where it's like, if you're Steve, you've got to be aware of what's going on. Mm-hmm. And you've got to protect your quarterback.
Right.
Both on the field and off the field.
Yep. They got a ton of transfers in. I think everyone that is a Texas fan, my brother, my boss's husband, shout out Bo, I think they are all very excited about this year. Rightfully so, a little suspect about Arch, but just hoping for the best.
Well, and not to get off topic here, but the fact that LSU, Texas, and Michigan account for a good 60% of the transfers in the transfer portal this year tells you a lot.
Yeah. So that takes us to Ole Miss. If you don't know, Trinidad Chambliss is their quarterback. He filed against the NCAA for a 6th year of eligibility. They tried to deny him. He tried to apply a medical red shirt in 2022. They denied it and basically said he didn't provide enough substantiation. He didn't tell them back in 22 he was hurt. So they denied his medical red shirt request. He then filed a lawsuit. He went to the courts with it. The judge ruled on his behalf, and now he can play. So he will be playing this year for Ole Miss. Obviously, Lane Kiffin left. That was a whole big shebang. I don't know really what to expect from Ole Miss. They promoted their defensive coordinator, I think he was, Pete Golding. Yeah. He was the one who coached the team after Lane went to LSU and couldn't coach them in the playoffs. So decided to promote him internally. I'm not really sure what to expect from Ole Miss, honestly.
Well, they gave that hiring a B. Sports Illustrated did. So, and I think that's fair. He weathered the storm really well. You know, in the playoffs last year, he did what he could do.
Yeah.
Maybe Lane takes you further, but we will never know. Because he just gave up on him.
Okay.
Just gave up on you, Ole Miss.
Right.
Just when you see him again, just smack him upside the head.
He was saying a lot of crazy stuff. I remember when he left, he said something like, the guys wanted me to keep coaching them. And then all those Ole Miss players came out and they're like, no, no, we didn't.
Okay. We'd rather you go out the back door.
Right.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ole Miss, they're going to be interesting this year because can they get that glory back? Can they retain that fire? Mm-hmm. Is it still going to be lit, or was that because of the system that you had?
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be something that Trinidad looks back on if this year doesn't go well.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I did all that work for nothing and should have just went to the league.
That's another side quest where it's like, this was your draft. Mm-hmm. I was rooting for Trinidad. I was hoping we took them.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about who we took.
The Rams, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out Ty Simpson.
No. Don't sign your contract, Ty. It's
oh my
okay.
Gosh.
We'll take Trinidad next year.
So dramatic.
But I also think it was interesting. I know that Pete Golding took over. But it's interesting to hire a D coordinator after your stalwart for this team was offense for years.
Yeah.
So how does that affect your play calling and whatnot going forward, you know.
It'll be interesting because I think a common theme for Ole Miss games over the last couple seasons has been the inability to get a stop. You know, like just get one stop. And they haven't been able to. So he helps there, but of course you still hope he is open-minded enough and has the right people in position as far as his offensive staff to keep that offense humming and flowing like it was last year.
Yeah.
So then we'll go to Oklahoma.
Wow. Oklahoma was number 5?
They are number 4.
Oh, number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oklahoma, I don't really know. I don't really know what to expect from them. John Mateer will be back. I know you love John Mateer.
John, I love you, John. John, you should have came. You should have came to the Rams.
Okay. He had thumb surgery last season. I think it was September 2025.
Yes.
So they're expecting him to be...
He played.
Yeah, but once he came back from that surgery, it was rocky.
Yeah.
Britt Venables.
Yeah, that's Kellen DeBoer's twin.
Yep. My God. They literally look the same. Didn't they play each other in the playoffs?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And they kept flipping the camera back and forth. I said the only thing changed is the red on the hat, child.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that changed.
Uncanny comparison.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I remember us sitting literally on the couch and talking about that. Like
who is that?
Right.
Who did you just pan to?
They're literally the same person. So yes, they have Brent there, John Mateer returning. I think this is the first year in a long time that Oklahoma has known going into the season who their quarterback is going to be. Mm-hmm. I mean, they performed well. What do you think? I'm not really sure what to expect from them.
The problem was they had lightning in a bottle last year. Mm. And they had really good receivers last year also. Mm-hmm. I think the tough part is John Mateer is undersized. I know that, you know, you're saying to yourself, well, he's not 5'11". Yeah, but he's a short 6'2". And everything he does is on the run.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with the offensive line being not so good. But John Mateer, he's going to have to come in healthy, number one. Mm-hmm. And he's going to have to make a lot of plays for them to be serviceable.
Yeah.
Because the defense does not hold up well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always kind of been a thing with OU.
Yep.
Their defense is not great.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. It gets stops. But they're, you know, it's play to play with them.
Yeah. I think when they made that transition from the Big 12, them and Texas came over to the SEC at the same time. Most of us were not concerned with Texas because since Steve has been there, I feel like there's been more of a focus on the defensive end. And they kind of fit the SEC mold at that point when they came over. Oklahoma, however, we've always known them to be high-powered offense and not a lick of defense.
Yeah, and that's kind of the tough thing. Like, I get them wanting to leave the Big 12. Mm-hmm. Because there's not a lot of competition out there.
Right. They were just going against each other, basically.
But coming over to the SEC, you might have did better off coming over to the Big 10, where it's kind of interchangeable every year. The SEC is like the big dogs are the big dogs every year.
Right.
So, yeah, they're going to have trouble finding their footing. It's going to take a very special player for them this year, I think. I don't know who that is going to be, but whether it's at wide receiver, whether John Mateer just has an amazing season, they're going to need something like that to be up there to me.
Yeah. And then I saved LSU for last.
Okay.
Simply because what a fiasco. I mean, we already talked about Lane. He left Ole Miss in a blaze of glory. Got to LSU. He's now the second highest paid coach behind Kirby, and it's just a little bit.
Yeah.
They're basically making the same amount. He signed a 7-year, $91 million deal. Basically, LSU said, come back, take us to our glory days.
Yeah.
They've been struggling the last couple years, and they were hoping Lane could inject some sort of revitalized energy into them. But once he got there, I mean, he instantly, and I do mean instantly, hit the portal.
Yeah.
They are a team full of transfers.
Yeah.
even starting with the quarterback. Sam Leavitt transferred from Arizona State. He won a Big 12 championship with them back in 24, so big expectations with Sam. But yeah, it truly is a team full of transfers.
Yeah. They got that big tackle out of Colorado also to protect him, to protect his blind side. LSU is going to be an interesting case study. I don't know how much success they have.
Yeah.
I really don't, because he's also taking chances on rappers, so
Stop.
a little side shot there.
Okay.
But I mean, honestly though, LSU it's a team of kind of hodgepodge, because you really don't know what you have when you build a team through the transfer portal. Unless they all are the same style of player, you're really taking a risk on all of that meshing well. And you get a bunch of guys in a room that already have preconceived attitude issues.
Yeah.
Which we witnessed last year with Brian Kelly at the helm. When the wide receivers are crashing out on the head coach on the sideline, and you've got and that of course could all be tied to Brian Kelly as a head coach. But we're talking about adding more personalities to this room.
Right.
You're talking about adding an ego like Lane Kiffin's, and he's bringing back Ed Oregon. It's like we're talking about a lot of moving pieces here, and this could either go really well or it could be catastrophic, and there's no in between.
Right. At the very least, it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
And then one other quick note on the SEC. Another team you'll see thrown around in there is Texas A&M.
Yeah.
A lot of people are expecting them to finish pretty high. They have Marcel Reed as their quarterback. It'll be his second full season as the starting quarterback. So a lot of folks are expecting them to be up there as well in that top 5 conversation.
So run us through your top 5 one more time, please.
So my top 5, and I just put this together based on interest, honestly, a mix of interest and a bit of what insiders and folks are thinking the SEC will shake out to be. So number 1, we've got Texas, 2, Georgia, and I went through them not in order, but here's the list. 1, Texas, 2, Georgia, 3, Bama, 4, Ole Miss, and 5, LSU.
Okay.
And then we have A&M as that honorable mention.
So you really think very high of Texas?
I think in the SEC, they're the team with the most continuity as far as roster is concerned.
Yes.
And I think that gives them the edge over a team like Georgia.
I mean, that's fair. I think I would maybe change your top 5 around. It's also interesting you didn't have Florida as an honorable mention at all either. I mean, I know that they lost their quarterback and their head coach, but they do still have a lot of talent out there.
I mean, I think you could throw a lot of SEC teams in there. Not necessarily to be top 5. However, I think there are teams that could serve as disruptors. Even like a South Carolina with Lenora Sellers.
Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee. I think there's a lot of teams that can make some sort of noise. However, when all the dust settles, I would be extremely shocked if Georgia and Texas aren't some variation of 1 and 2.
So let's take a second and kind of talk about the coaching for each conference. You named a lot of your coaches for the SEC. I'm not going to put these guys head to head, but just kind of in a vacuum. When you hear names like Steve Sarkisian, Lane Kiffin, Kirby Smart, and you look across the aisle at the Big Ten and you have coaches like Ryan Day, Dan Lanning, Kurt Signetti, Kyle Whittingham coming over. Like, how do you feel about the coaching per conference with some of the top guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're equally yoked, Both conference has experience, obviously. With Kirby at Georgia, you have experience, and then Dan Lanning has been in Oregon for a while. Kurt Signetti, of course, has been in the game for a while, so you have that experience, but then you also have newer guys. Kalen DeBoer is not a new coach, but he's newer to the SEC. And you've got Kyle Whittingham. What was he for you guys? Your defensive coordinator?
No, he came over from Utah.
Okay. You guys were looking at hiring your defensive coordinator, right? Promoting him?
Yeah, initially.
So you've got newer coaches in both conferences, but they're all big names. Like, they all are a draw. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So from a coaching perspective, I think they're pretty equally yoked.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. And I mean, at the end of the day, talent is talent. And with these coaches, they're making their names off this talent, you know. And when you look through the top 20 in quarterback play and wide receiver play, a lot of these players are playing for either the SEC or the Big Ten.
Yep.
You have your Dante Moores, you have your Gunnar Stocktons, you have Coleman with Texas. You
Arch Manning.
You've got Arch Manning. You've got all these bigger names that are going to lean one way or the other, and it's the SEC or the Big Ten.
Yep.
So, with all that being said, while we're talking about the SEC, I know you saw the report today coming out on them. The fact that they may be leaving the NCAA altogether if they can't have it their way.
I think they're bluffing.
I think they're bluffing too, but regardless, they have had serious talks about walking away from the NCAA. They are after their own self-governance. They would much rather run it themselves than go by the NCAA's rules. They also are tired of getting sued. I mean, that's basically what they're saying in this complaint to the NCAA is your regulations set us up to be sued every time we don't do what a team wants us to do. So a perfect example is Brendan Sorsby. You know, that is one of those situations where it's like, it's a lot of gray area. Same thing with Trinidad Chambliss. It's a lot of gray area. And so a player goes and gets a local judge, and now all of the rules that you have set in place are null and void, and we're the ones that have to pay for that.
Yep.
And so they are after basically being backed by federal legislation, and if they can't get that, they're willing to walk. Do you think there's a lot of legs to that? Do you think they'll actually do it?
You know, I think the SEC as a conference thinks really highly of themselves. And I think they believe if they walk, the NCAA, as far as football is concerned, crumbles. And football is their moneymaker. I mean, let's be real. You know, of course, there's other sports that bring in funds. Basketball's probably next in that list. But football is the moneymaker.
Absolutely.
So I think the SEC thinks highly enough of themselves that if they don't start seeing things shake their way, that they would consider it. However, in the stage we are right now, I do think it's a bluff. I think it's more of a message to the NCAA to clean up your house, you know?
Yeah.
We talked about this in, I think, our second or third episode. It's a mess. You know, you put these regulations in place, no one's following them.
No.
The precedent has been set that, oh, the NCAA gave me this ruling. Well, I don't like it. So, like you said, I'm going to go to local government and sue them and win, you know? So it's just messy. There needs to be so many parameters put in place. And honestly, I don't blame the SEC. I mean, it's ugly.
Do you think any teams like out of other conferences would follow? Do you think the Big Ten per se, like they'd be like, hey, let's go ahead and try our luck over here, you know, leave the NCAA also?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the SEC has always just carried itself with this like air of arrogance that they're the only ones right now that I could see that's a viable threat for. But you never know. Maybe teams like Notre Dame that are kind of conference agnostic and just floating. They're just Notre Dame.
Yeah.
They might, but right now I could just see the SEC doing it.
Yeah, and, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. But for right now, we know we got regular college football. We got the SEC. We got the Big Ten. We got Big 12, so on and so forth. So, we're looking forward to having a really good season this year. Hopefully it's a lot better. Hopefully the NCAA puts its foot down and starts to enforce some of its regulations.
Yes.
And have fair rulings on things, Speaking of those regulations, enforcing them, and who covers those regulations, ESPN, ESPN, as I call them. I wanted to take a quick second to kind of address the things going on at ESPN. We are not a podcast that's going to turn a blind eye to the things that are going on in the sports world. And that includes the coverage of the sports world. Obviously, we have raw takes because a lot of this stuff is live happening.
Yeah.
But ESPN is actively laying off a good portion of its veteran staff in favor of giving guys like Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith a boatload of money. In which we're basically going to be forced to sit there and consume these two guys for over 8 hours of a day, basically. Personally, I don't have any problem with either guy. If you have your opinions, whatever. But to actively see a company basically say the show that we grew up on, the center that we grew up on, the sports center that we grew up on and saw from the beginning, with all these diverse takes and these different opinions coming from people that actually played the game and were actually there, all that's going to be stripped away because we want to give Pat McAfee $60 million a year. And we want to give Stephen A. Smith $100 million a year, or whatever the numbers are.
He's definitely not making 100. He's not getting paid as much as Pat, which is that's another thing
ridiculous.
you could look at.
Yeah.
Steven's been on the network for how long? First Take brings in a lot of viewership, and you got something new and shiny with Pat. Feel however you feel about Pat, but he came right in. When they hired him, they laid off a bunch of people to make room for his salary. Now they're firing more, so they could pay him even more. So it's just a sucky situation.
It sucks because you see guys like Tom Pelissero leaving, Bart Scott, Ryan Clark. They've got people, they were saying today, that have been with the company for over 20 years, and they found out they were being fired via Twitter. It's sad.
Yeah.
All this in favor of a couple of guys. And it makes you wonder what the coverage is going to be like going forward. When we start talking about football, basketball, so on and so forth, you're going to have a limited point of view. And that's why you come to us. You come right here to cover together.
Great segue.
Because we're going to cover it together. We're going to be unbiased. We're going to be fair. And
I have a little bias.
Yes, she does. But I'm going to be as unbiased as I possibly can, as long as you're not talking about the Michigan Wolverines or the Los Angeles Rams.
Wow.
But regardless, though, no, in all seriousness, as you start to see this landscape shake up, don't be afraid to take a risk on a podcast like this, because we're gonna do the best we can to cover this. We're gonna throw everything at you that we got, inside takes, hot scoops, everything, and we're excited about it, And as all that stuff changes, come on over and take a seat. Start your fireplace up. Listen to those crackles and these voices that also crackle. So, yeah, all in all, with all those things being said, did you have anything else you want to throw in there today?
I don't think so. We're a family. So come in, listen to the Cover Together podcast. Leave your thoughts, your opinions, your questions. Tell Bryce his take sucked.
Wow.
Whatever the case may be.
Wow. For every new subscriber you bring over, I'll make Mara make you a cinnamon roll and send it to you.
No.
So, yeah. So, well, we do thank you for listening, and we do appreciate you guys lending your ears every week. Hopefully, the next time we talk to you, LeBron will have made a decision.
Don't cross your toes.
I'm over it, LeBron. I'm not even going to be a fan next year.
Okay, let's wrap it up. Thanks, guys, for listening to another episode of Cover Together. Start getting in the mood for football.
It's coming.
Because it's almost back, baby.
We got, 50 days?
Yeah.
50 days.
Yes, sir. All right, thanks, guys. We'll chat with you guys soon. Peace.